Hello to your community. Today I have two very interesting interview partners with me. It's Tuva Al-Barak, Vice President of FOPI and Novartis Oncology General Manager, and Mr. Thomas Sekeres. He's the President of the Chamber of Physicians of Austria, so the Ärztekammer Präsident. We are now talking about a green book that was made by FOPI, where it is about the learnings of the COVID-19 crisis so far. And you both participated in this green book, you both wrote for it. And now we want to go a bit deeper into the topics of this book and the learnings of COVID-19. So my first question goes to Thomas Sekeres. You expressed the fear that as soon as a vaccine is available, the problems in global distribution from the beginning of the corona crisis could occur again. Why is that?
I hope that we will soon have a vaccine available. There are around 10 companies in phase 3, but as soon as one can be sold, I think the whole world will be interested in buying this vaccine, and that might be difficult then.
So, Tuva Al-Barak, what must happen to prevent this? How can a rapid supply of the vaccine be ensured?
I think the first thing we need to recognize is that there will not going to be a magic bullet that brings COVID-19 to an end, not even a vaccine. So even once a vaccine is in the market, it probably won't protect everyone. But I think what's critical is that we have a country readiness and in-country delivery systems. We need adequate expertise and resources to effectively plan, do the country planning, distribution, and follow-up. One thing I would like to highlight is that as an industry, we are committed to ensure that rapid and fair supply. Lately, 16 life science companies, most of which are parent companies to FOPI member companies here, issued a joint pledge. Among other things, one of the commitments is to support fair allocation of vaccines and therapies globally.
Hey, speaking of the allocation, Mr. Sekeres, you said quite clearly in the Green Book that it would be good to have critical goods produced directly in Austria. So how could that work?
Yeah, we had problems at the beginning of this pandemic, problems buying masks and protection outfit. And that was because every country tried to keep this protective outfit and masks in their country. And therefore it might be a good idea to produce some crucial products like masks or pharmaceutical chemicals in Europe, for instance, and not to be dependent on India and China only.
So now I ask you as head of, as general manager oncology of Novartis, how realistic do you think it is to bring the production to Austria of medication in specific?
You know, what we have seen in the latest examples, if governments and countries act decisively and set the right priorities, it is feasible and realistic to maintain production. For me, the safeguarding the production in Europe is a very valid concern, but it should be also discussed in relation to how we value those medicines as we grant them access. And we need to bear in mind that if we want to be an attractive either production site or a research and development site for life sciences, we need strong commitment in intellectual property as the backbone of the life sciences, a more innovation-friendly regulation, and an infrastructure that is driven by data and digital, alongside with the determination to build those strong public-private partnerships.
So that really sounds like a long-term goal. Now we're talking, I want to ask you something about the short-time goal, because now we're clearly seeing the second wave of the coronavirus coming into Austria, coming into whole Europe. And now the question is, from the FOPI point of view, what can we do to get through this winter without having another lockdown?
Yeah, I think we cannot really afford a second lockdown. And this is not just a question of economics. it's a question of delayed diagnosis and treatments and the collateral damage to all chronically ill patients, alongside those things that are yet to come to surface, such as the mental health issues. So basically, lockdown might not be an option, but it means that we need to be abiding by the rules. So for greater freedom, we need to comply by the measures such as masks, social distancing, the flu vaccinations. And we also need to have a plan in place that ensures the continuity of care for those chronically ill patients to minimize the collateral damage.
So speaking about the plan, Thomas Sekeres, you also emphasized the efficiency of the measures taken right at the beginning of the crisis, such as home sampling, for example. Are there any additional measures you take now in reaction to the second wave to avoid the lockdown?
In Vienna, for instance, we are working together as physicians with the city of Vienna, and we are setting up containers for sampling and for treating patients who might be infected in order to avoid additional infection of other patients, which is crucial. And I agree with there's no a lockdown, a second lockdown is no option. So what we have to do, we have to stick to the measures, wear masks, wash hands, and not too many people should be within a closed room for a long period of time. They shouldn't talk there or sing there together. And if we stick to these measures, we might be able to avoid another lockdown. And we are looking forward to the vaccines. I think it might not be the magic bullet, but it might help to end this pandemic situation.
I guess we all hope that. So thank you very much for the interview.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Dear community, thank you for listening and watching, and see you next time with the next interview. Have a good day.